All right, everybody, welcome to the Seven Figure Seller Summit, All Access Pass, private live mastermind. I'm here with my friend Dave Huss, and today Dave is going to go, he's going to do a deep dive into how to create a list on Facebook for Amazon sellers to launch on page one and get more reviews. And also, he's going to share a little bit about what not to do so you don't waste your time and money. So, Dave, how are you doing?
Hey Gary, thanks for having me on back again for the repeat round.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Yeah,
Yeah, excellent. So, for those of you guys watching live, if you can see this, if you can do me a favor, if you can post in the comments your name and what's the number one challenge you're having with building a Facebook list. So this way, we can make sure we'll try to cover as many questions as we can because we are doing this live because you guys are the all access pass holders. So I'm trying to deliver as much value to you guys as we can. Okay, so hi Randy and hi Sherry King. And all right, so Randy, he wants to know where to start. So just a quick
well,
intro for Dave.
that's where we're going,
Yeah,
is showing how to start on
yeah, yeah,
Facebook. Yeah.
yeah. So Dave has been doing e-commerce PPC for 8 years, both on Google and Facebook. He's launched 3 e-commerce brands off of Amazon, and one of which on Amazon. He's also on to page one. And now he teaches a lot of Amazon 6, 7, and 8 figure sellers how to do the same thing, how to rank on page one. So today he's doing a very in-depth masterclass training. So without further ado, I'll just hand things over to you, Dave. And for those of you guys in the audience, if you have any questions, please put your name and your question in the chat box and we'll get to them at the end. All right. So on to you, Dave.
All right, thanks Gary. Okay, so make this full screen. Okay, so as Gary said, I've been on Facebook building brands for a while. So I really wanted to be able to show kind of how do you get started, right? Because this is the question that I always see from Amazon sellers. Like, how do I even get started on Facebook? Where do I even begin? So Gary asked me to put together this presentation, how to create a list on Facebook for Amazon sellers, because you want to launch on page one, right? You want a list of people that when you bring your product to the Amazon marketplace, you already have this excited group of people ready to buy the product, right? Amazon really likes that, right? You get more reviews, and I also show you, more importantly, what not to do that doesn't work for Amazon sellers, so you don't waste your time and money, right? Because Facebook could be like a rabbit hole. Like, it just goes on, and there's so many different features. All right, so first we have to get out of the way. If Amazon, you have to kind of do what they want in the long term, right? So Amazon wants you to bring your own customers to them, and they weigh the sales from these external sources higher than they do for just people already on the Amazon marketplace. Because in the long run, Amazon knows, like, once you go Amazon as a customer, like, the experience is so good, you never go back, right? You never leave. And so Amazon, implicitly has this kind of boost for sales that you bring from the outside. And so, taking that into account, if you can have your own list of people that are ready to buy your product when you launch it, it just makes the whole process a lot more straightforward to get a product ranked, right? You just need enough people to buy the product over the launch period, right? And this is something that a lot of Amazon sellers are, some of them got started early building their audiences, and they're now taking advantage of that because, if they have a list of 10, 20, 30,000 people, and they have competitors that have a list of 0 people, that's just a huge difference in the competitive advantage on Amazon. You can boost new product rankings, you can get more reviews pretty much whenever you want. I mean, if you need more reviews, you could just, do a couple sales and then follow up with the people. Hey, we saw that you opened this email to our Amazon promotion or opened our Facebook message, could you please leave us a review? So, these things that are consistent challenges for most Amazon sellers become, I'll just say, more consistent once you have an audience on your side. If you have a product that slipped, you can recover the rankings on it. Lots of different things you can do with your list once you have it. So Facebook is, one of many ways that you could build a list, but I think it's probably one of the most straightforward and consistent ones. However, there's still a lot of areas where Amazon sellers get tripped up because Facebook and Amazon are very, very different platforms. And the playbook that works well on Amazon, almost none of it, transfers over to Facebook. The mindset is very different for how you get the attention of people. So, I'm going to show basically how to avoid falling off the road, right? So Facebook, you're going to be spending a lot of time and effort building the audience. You kind of have to do it the right way from the beginning. All right, so the first question, and it may be the case, Facebook is good for your brand, or maybe it's not good for your brand. So the follow-up question, is Facebook going to be, is it good for me? Is it going to work for me? I think the better question is, are you selling or planning to sell multiple products to the same end customer? So if you only have one product that you're planning to launch, Facebook is going to be, for all the investment and the time and money, maybe it's not worth it to build a Facebook audience if you're only going to launch one product, right? Now, if you're going to launch one product next month and then later this year launch another one and then another one, then it could be worth, spending all this time and effort building the Facebook audience. But the more products that you plan to launch, the more valuable that list is to you, because you're paying to build the list one time and you can reuse it for multiple Amazon product launches. So if you think about I could say kind of typical Amazon seller, to launch a product, they have to give away a bunch of units, and maybe they have these other, services and this and that, and pretty much every time they launch the product, they have to burn a big pile of cash in order to get enough sales and visibility on Amazon to get the product moving, to get it off the ground. Amazon PPC and the giveaways. So you have to redo that every time you launch a new product. So you're basically burning that same pile of cash for every single product that you launch. So that is where, if you had your own audience list, yes, you have to pay to acquire the people on that list, but you can reuse one list for multiple Amazon launches, 5 products, 10 products, as long as that customer base that you've built the audience in buy all of those different products that you're launching. So for example, you had a product, let's say a dog toy, right? So if you were planning to launch other dog products, maybe dog blankets or dog food or anything else related to dogs, besides that one product, then it would make sense to build the list because you can reuse it for every single dog product that you want to launch. Okay. Okay, so building the list, what not to do. First, get this stuff out of the way, right? So you want an audience list, you want to be able to launch multiple products. I've seen lots of different ways to potentially build a list. Most of them either are very hard to pull off or they just don't apply to Amazon sellers in general. So a big one is content strategies. I think for a lot of Amazon sellers who are launching products in the next year, spending the time and effort into hiring writers and doing all these blog posts and things, it's a very roundabout way to try and get some people on a list to promote their products, right? Which is really what the Amazon sellers want, let's say in the next year timeframe. And blog posts are not really going to deliver that. Now, in the long run, if you have a consistent content strategy, and I mean consistent as in like 1 to 2 years content strategy, and the content that you're writing makes sense for your target audience, that could be helpful, right? Let's say 2 years from now. But in the meantime, it's probably not going to do that much for you. So, there's also the issue where, depending on the type of products that you have, there might not be that much content that you could write that people would actually care about. So a good example is I had a client who they sold water bottles, right? And I think their head was in the right place. He was like, yeah, I really want to build a list. I want to have an audience, but the ways that he was doing it, they just didn't work for those products. So he hired a writer, and I mean, they must have been writing for 6 or 12 months. And they had all these blog posts about like, drink more water and like 8 glasses of water a day. And they would get like 2 shares on Facebook. Like literally nobody cared. So it's like, okay, that strategy is probably not going to work for you. And I think for a lot of Amazon sellers, if that's a strategy that they want to do, just don't expect to get results anytime soon, right? The SEO ranking takes a while. So another thing that I've seen Amazon sellers try to do is more advanced, let's call them funnels. So free plus ship offers, I think, in theory, sound very attractive. So for those who don't know, free plus ship offer would be, hey, get this dog toy for free, just pay $5.95 shipping, and we'll send it out to you, right? So it's a very appealing offer for the end customer because they get a product for free, and they just have to pay for the shipping and handling. Now, the challenge with free plus shipping offers that most Amazon sellers don't realize, they really only work if you have a well-developed backend to your funnel, because you're pretty much going to be giving away these products probably break even at best, or in some cases at a loss. So if that's the case, you need to have a lot of things that you can sell them on the back end of doing a free plus ship offer, and you need a very high customer and lifetime value and a lot of profit to work with. And for many Amazon products where the margins might not be that great and they might not be repeat purchase products, the free plus ship offers, they just don't really apply that well to Amazon sellers that I've seen. Now, of course, there's a few exceptions, but based on the difficulty level of pulling them off and all the different marketing pieces needed, it's not something that I recommend, especially for Amazon sellers just trying to get started. It's probably not going to work out. Making a Shopify store. So, man, I've seen this one a lot recently because Amazon sellers, they're waking up to this fact that they need to build an audience list, and it seems like a minor distinction. Like, okay, I'm going to make a Shopify store and I'm going to, do this, but really the hard part of running the external store is it takes a lot more overhead and maintenance on your part because Amazon takes care of everything for you. They do optimize for sales. They help you, put the product up there. And Shopify, you're probably going to have to hire a bunch of people to manage the store for you. And more importantly than that, you're in charge of getting customers to the Shopify store. And that really trips up a lot of Amazon sellers because on Amazon, if your product is somewhere on the first page, you're going to get sales. People are going to buy your product because they're already searching for the product. On Shopify, you're literally starting from zero, from nothing. Nobody knows who you are, nobody's going to the store, and you're in charge of the marketing plan for bringing the people to that store. And as a lot of Amazon sellers find out, that's really tough. And for some products, it's really hard to pull off. Now, I think for Shopify, if you sell products that are high margin, repeat purchase products, perhaps like skincare, things like that, where you have a lot of margin to pay for doing external advertising to the Shopify store, it could potentially still work out well, at least in the different brands that I've seen. But if the products are one-off or lower margin, it's really tough to make the numbers work on the Shopify store, because at the end of the day, end customers, they could still just go buy on Amazon. And this is the kind of, let's say, thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about is, even if you build your own Shopify store, you're still competing against Amazon, because everybody shops on Amazon anyways. So not only are you missing out on all the benefits of being on the Amazon platform, now you have to do all this external advertising. And for Shopify, the conversion rates are much lower than they are on Amazon. We had some products that we launched that went viral and we made a lot of money on, but okay, our conversion rate I think was 8% for that particular product, because it was high engagement product at a low price point. That's an amazing Shopify conversion rate. But I know Amazon sellers, I told them, yeah, 8% conversion rates. They're like, whoa, that's so low. I get 15 to 25% conversion rates on Amazon. And that's the reality, is that on Shopify, probably an average conversion rate is more like 1%, at least from the sellers that I've talked to on Shopify, sometimes even lower than 1%. Whereas on Amazon, the conversion rate is generally 10%, 15, 20, 25%. It's an order of magnitude different. And so the advertising that you drive to the Shopify store is not converting as well either. So these are all things that I think Amazon sellers need to consider when deciding which audience building or strategies outside of Amazon that they want to do, right? And then one more thing is direct selling on Facebook ads. So I'll get into this a bit later, but Amazon PPC is not the same thing as Facebook ads or Facebook PPC. They're very different platforms, and doing direct selling on Facebook is very difficult and generally doesn't work that well, as I'll get into later. Okay, so first things first on Facebook. There is a difference between Facebook pages and Facebook groups. And sometimes these are used interchangeably, but they're actually two different things, which we'll get into. So a Facebook group or a private group is, I think, best used for VIP customers or early adopters or people who basically have a direct benefit from using the product and giving you feedback, right? So these are people who are emotionally invested in the product. So, for, let's say again, for dog toys, right? It would be pretty good to get people in a private Facebook group that really love their dogs. Maybe they have multiple dogs and, they talk about dogs all day. That's a way that they can engage with each other and talk about something that they're passionate and they're interested in. So Facebook groups, this is a great way to leverage them, because people are already having these conversations around products that you sell. And so you can help facilitate those conversations with those people. And one of the big benefits of doing a Facebook group is that you can get product feedback really quickly from the people who are going to buy your products. And I think this is something that's maybe not talked about enough, because everyone focuses on, oh, I want a Facebook group in order to rank the product. But you can get such good feedback from these people because they care about the product so much. And they can also help you avoid making mistakes with the products that would otherwise be really costly. So if, for example, you were considering two different product designs, and for my brands, we did this when we were launching e-commerce products, or for example, when we sold t-shirts, we would say, hey, do you like t-shirt A or t-shirt B? Which one do you like, right? And so the Facebook group can give you that feedback. And so we, literally threw out so many designs, some that we even liked a lot because the end customer didn't like them. And then again, for products, we could ask feedback, hey, do you like this product or that product or this feature or that feature? Before we take the time and the effort to, pay for the manufacturing and pay for the inventory and ship it, because at that point, like, you're already invested. So if there's a step that you missed in the product development that you didn't know because you didn't get enough feedback from the customers, oops, too late, right? But if you have your own Facebook group, you can essentially bypass a lot of that, right? You can avoid getting tripped up by these little mistakes on product development, because the end customer is telling you, hey, this isn't working, right? So I think that's why the Facebook group is really helpful. So another benefit of the group is, of course, the members in your Facebook group, they can help with your product launches. So people who give feedback on your products, they're emotionally invested in those products. And so when we launched our own t-shirts, what we would do is those people that gave the feedback on version A or version B of the t-shirt, once we actually designed the shirt and it was ready to purchase, we came back and said, hey, thanks for your feedback on the t-shirt. Here's the exact t-shirt that you said you wanted and a 20% off coupon, right? And so that was an easy way to get sales right out the gate for our products, because those people, they had a little bit of emotional investment in the product because they helped guide it along in its creation, and then you give them a coupon to say thank you. Like, of course they're going to buy it, right? Like, that's really cool. So that's a really great way to use the Facebook group. And another benefit of the Facebook group compared to business pages is that everyone in the Facebook group will probably see your post, right? Or at least they get a notification that you made a post. And that's a big difference to Facebook business pages where, the organic reach on a business page is quite low. But in the Facebook group, pretty much everyone's going to see when you post. Now, the challenge with the Facebook group is it's generally hard to scale the group in the beginning, because you have to go and find the people to put into that group. And you also need a certain level of people in the group before the group seems like really cool, right? So no one wants to be the first person in a group and you're the only person there. So I'd say kind of the critical mass is maybe about 100 people is like where groups, like if it's less than 100 people, like it's kind of hard to keep them going for a lot of product categories. But if you get more than 100 people in a group, and I think that's a pretty attainable number, as I'll talk to some ways you can get them a little bit later, then the group seems like really cool, and people actually start to interact with each other. And so that's like kind of the minimum I would say, is you got to have a way to get like 100 people in a group. And the other big challenge with Facebook groups is, Facebook doesn't let you run advertising, at least directly, to get people to join a Facebook group. And so that's why, at least in the beginning, it can be challenging. How are you going to get people in the group? Okay, so Facebook page, and these are Facebook business pages. So one caveat that I need to mention is you can't use personal Facebook profiles for doing any of this stuff, right? So Facebook is very, very strict about business activities should be run from a Facebook business page. And I do know people who have not listened to that and they get their personal profiles banned. So do everything for the business on a Facebook business page and or a group. So groups are okay for a business as well. But the big benefit of doing the Facebook business page, and again, these are not like mutually exclusive. Like in a lot of cases, you might want to have a group and a Facebook page, but they're basically used for a little bit different purposes. So the Facebook page, I think the biggest benefit is you can use it for advertising. So to go and acquire new customers, you basically need a Facebook business page and an ads account as well, tied together in Business Manager. So Facebook has their own software called Business Manager to keep all these different assets in place. You can use the Facebook page to generate the leads from your ads. And that's how you can build a list really quickly. Now, of course, the downside is you have to pay for that, right? It's not free. But if you do it in the right way, you can, within a few weeks, and definitely over the time period of a month or two, you can get a couple thousand people on a list. And if you do the right targeting and get the right people, that can make a really big difference in Amazon product launches. And you can also funnel some people from the Facebook page into the Facebook group, because you're already paying to acquire these people. So why not also ask them to join the Facebook group, right? So you get additional benefit from the same lead that you're already paying to acquire. Now, the biggest downside I see that the Facebook business pages is, over the past couple of years, organic reach has continued to go down and go down and go down. And a lot of people really complain about this. They're like, oh, Facebook, how dare they turn off organic reach? Like, no one sees my post. And to some extent, there is some truth to that. But a lot of times what I see is people complain about the low organic reach. But when I actually look at the posts that they're doing on their Facebook page, the content that they're putting out there, the engagement with it, the content is things that people aren't actually engaging with. And that's the real reason that they're not getting good organic reach. And that can be a tough pill to swallow, but you kind of have to adjust your strategy to meet the needs of the target customer base. And so if they're not engaging with the post, you got to try something different. And I see some people that just keep posting the same things and nobody interacts with it and there's no engagement and nobody cares. You got to just switch up your strategy, right? So we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, so the first thing, and the question that I get a lot is, what do I even name my Facebook page or group? What do I even make the focus of this? And the way I think of it, there's a couple different ways that you could approach this. So you could focus on the topic or the hobby or kind of the passion that your customers have. And again, not all products, this is the case, but for those where there's a core group of people who care about the product. Let's say you sell kitchenware, right? So a topic-focused Facebook page name could be like, I love cooking, or Chefs United, or something focused around the activity that people that use your products are primarily doing. So that is the topic focus. Now, the brand focused Facebook page name is something like, your brand is called Blackstone Cookware. So you name your Facebook page Blackstone Cookware. That can work in some situations. Some people also make their Facebook pages based on a single product name. So, oh, I have the best garlic press. I'm going to name the Facebook page Ultimate Garlic Press. Out of those three choices, I think that the product focus is generally the least performing in my experience. The brand focus is basically the second one. And then the topic focus, that's consistently the best performing when it comes to Facebook pages. And by performing, I mean engagement, how easy it is to grow the audience, basically how much people care about the stuff that you're posting about. Generally, when it's topic focused on the Facebook page, you get much better engagement from people. Now, again, there are some products where that's, let's say, less the case, and you might have to do a brand focus. But yes, I'd say in general, for most, I prefer to do the topic focus to build the Facebook audience, because really at the end of the day, people care about that specific topic. They don't necessarily care that much about your ultimate garlic press, right? I mean, that might be, yes, it's helpful and they can cook better or press their garlic better, but they have this activity that they need help facilitating. And I think that's generally a better use of the Facebook page name. Okay, so you got your Facebook page name, you got your Facebook group. Where do we start to get people into our world? Like, where do we even start to get from 0 people to 1 people on our list? So the old-fashioned roll up your sleeves and hustle and start to reach out to people. That is strategy number one. So this is something that pretty much anyone can do, but it takes a significant amount of work on your part. So if you want to get a list of 100 people in a group, what are some ways that you could find where are those people, right? So you have these products that solve problems for people. So those people that have a problem, where are they right now? They're probably already having conversations about these products. You need to find a way to be there when they're having those conversations, either virtually. So maybe there's some other Facebook group where people are already talking about these products or about this activity, or maybe physically being there. So there might be an event about, let's say, cooking or kitchen. Like, you can go there, and that is a way to meet some of these people who are the customers of your products, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to build those connections. And the Amazon platform, for all its benefits, one of the downsides is it removes you by several steps from the end customer, right? So on Amazon, it's quite easy to just say like, oh, well, people buy it, and like I don't really know who they are, and I don't really know what they're doing, because Amazon's like kind of in the middle. But when you're building the Facebook page, or really any audience, you have to have a direct connection to them. You have to know, where are these people at? Are they reading magazines about this problem? Are they watching certain YouTube channels? Are they following certain people on Instagram? By seeing where they are already getting their information, that's where you can insert yourself and, let's say in a Facebook group, add some value. So people are already talking about, their pets and this, like you can add some value. And if your product is applicable to them, you could maybe get some beta testers for your product from the group, right? And then say like, hey, I have my own group. Maybe you want to join a group. So this takes a lot of sweat equity to do, but it's a good strategy to build a list in the beginning, because again, you're spending your time to do this. And I think in general, you'll get some good product feedback from these people, and it'll make your products better. So the challenge with doing the hustle and manually trying to get people into your groups and your pages is it doesn't really scale, right? Like you can only do that so much before, either you run out of groups or you run out of time. So I think in the beginning that can be a good strategy, but it's much faster to scale it with Facebook ads. Now the caveat there is you have to pay for it and you have to run the campaigns, which has its own considerations. But with Facebook ads, you can basically pay Facebook to advertise to people at scale and build a chatbot email list of a couple thousand people. And that's something that you could reasonably pull off in a month or two, right? Whereas like manually trying to get 3,000 people into your page or group, that's going to take a lot longer and be a lot more effort. So the challenge with the Facebook ads is you need some high converting offers to get people to give you their contact information. And again, Amazon sellers get tripped up here because they basically by default just go to, hey, buy this thing, hey, buy my stuff, buy this, coupon, coupon, coupon. And then if it doesn't work, they just say, oh, okay, well, I'll do a 20% coupon. Okay, that didn't work, I'll do 40%, I'll do 60. So like, it's just increments of discount is the default way of thinking of trying to acquire a customer. But on Facebook, like people might not be ready to buy at that moment. So you can actually use some of these other types of offers to get their information first, to get their lead. And then when you're ready to launch a product, you follow up with them later because you already have their email address, you already have them in your chatbot. Maybe they like your Facebook page. Hopefully they're in your Facebook group too. So when you launch a new product, you can hit them in all those different channels at the same time, right? But you have to get their information first before you can do that. And if the first interaction that they have with your brand is, hey, buy my stuff, or 20% off, or 50% off, or this or that, like, you might not actually get the chance to convert them later, because they might just swipe up on the newsfeed and they're gone. So I think you have to think about getting the lead first and then converting them later. So there's a couple ways I have here that you could do that. So lead magnets, those are things like, hey, download this PDF of, top 10 ways to take care of your dog, for example. And with lead magnets, I think they can work for some brands and products where maybe there's a lot of educational component, or there's already a lot of content in that space that's, people are already writing about. Those could be a good candidate for a lead magnet. But for some products, I'll go back to one of my previous clients sold a water bottle. I mean, what's really like you could write about a water bottle? I mean, yeah, it's like a cool, amazing water bottle and it has this feature, but like, why would someone download a PDF about, like this product? I mean, okay, maybe you could make one about you should drink more water or this, but like, it's probably not going to convert that well. So that might not be a good case for lead magnets for that business. Another one is rebate offers. So these have become more popular recently. And so on Facebook, people will run these offers through Facebook ads and say, hey, we'll give you this product for free. Just sign up for our chat bot, and then we'll refund you the money later on PayPal. I mean, that could work to get people on the list. I do think there's some questions there about, Amazon terms of service, and depending on how you structure the rebate offer, that can be a consideration. Also, rebate offers, they can be pretty expensive, right? Because you're basically giving every product for free. So yes, your cost to get technically the lead on Facebook is low, but your cost to fulfill that lead is actually quite high because you're basically giving everyone free stuff. So rebate offers, I think, can work for, maybe if you need a specific number of people, or you really need to focus on like one product to help it get ranked a little better. But I don't think it's like a really, it's tough to build an audience list from that, because also those customers are less engaged because you're just giving them free stuff. So that is also a downside to rebate offers. Another offer that you can do to build the list is to do contests. And this is one that I think works well for most Amazon products. There are obviously a few considerations, but contests, they rely on you having things that Amazon sellers tend to have already. So Amazon sellers, they might not be that good at content, but they usually have really great products. They have great products, and so in a contest, the way that you're, basically putting yourself out there is like, hey, I have this great product, like enter to win a contest to win it. So if someone likes that product, it's not that hard to ask them to give you their contact information for a chance to win that product. So I think contests are very straightforward, and in a lot of cases, they can work really well for Amazon sellers. Now, before you actually run any Facebook ads, one thing that I've seen happen a lot is people waste a lot of time basically building out tons of content on their Facebook page when nobody's on their Facebook page yet. So that, they might spend, potentially even hire a writer and make all these blog posts. And, really from the perspective of the Facebook advertising platform, a lot of people won't even see the timeline. And those who do, they're probably only going to check the first maybe 5 to 10 posts on the Facebook timeline. And so my recommendation is just don't spend that much time on making posts on the timeline until after you've tested the Facebook ads portion. You start to get some momentum, you start to get some leads, and you can kind of see the returns, and then you can invest a bit more time into the Facebook content strategy. Because again, we have to be realistic with how many resources we have, how much time we have, and making a bunch of posts in the timeline is just not the best use of that. Like it's better focused on making the ads better, making the different campaigns better, improving them, and just having the minimal amount of content so the page looks nice, basically. Okay, so this is something between Amazon PPC and Facebook is very different. On Amazon, people type in what they want. They type in their search intent into Amazon. They tell Amazon, I want this thing right now. And on Amazon, when someone searches on Amazon, they want that thing. Let's say they want a garlic press. You just have to be the most appealing garlic press at the time that they want to purchase, right? So they're going to buy a garlic press probably today. You just have to be the best one. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So in that case, discounts or things like that, or direct selling can work really well because you're just trying to be the one that they choose because they're going to choose a product now. On Facebook, people don't really type in, I want a garlic press. Like, you probably use Facebook, or you at least, know that people, they're scrolling on their newsfeed, they're looking at pictures of, their family, their kids, maybe cat videos. And so they don't have the same search intent at the time that they're interacting with your brand. And so you have to keep that in mind. If you start to go, hey, buy this, buy now, but yeah, you might get some people, but generally those campaigns, they fall flat on their face because they don't get engagement on Facebook. The costs go too high because people, they just don't want to see that stuff on Facebook, right? They want to interact and engage. And when you get all in their face selling all this stuff, okay, yeah, maybe you'll get some sales, but it's going to be generally challenging to build that list of leads, right? So we have to take that into consideration. The Facebook users, they don't have search intent. This is such a critical difference between Amazon and Facebook. Now, the same people that are on Amazon are on Facebook, but the mindset is different, right? So that's why you can get their attention and keep their attention. And then when you launch a product, you go back and you communicate with them because you already have their contact information. You've gotten their email, their Facebook Messenger, maybe use a chatbot. You can reach out to them anytime you want, as long as you get their information. Right, so these are some examples of contest ads for products. This is for our arts and crafts brands. We sell like sewing products and things like that. And running contests to your products is a very straightforward way to build a list of people interested in those products. Rather than trying to do the same thing, if we replaced, instead of win this, it's like, hey, buy this now, 50% off or 20% off or this. Yeah, okay, we'll get some sales, but we're missing out on this opportunity to build a list of people who already buy these products. And you can generally capture their information pretty cheaply on Facebook because the contest gets more engagement and people share with their friends, which Facebook wants engagement. They want people to stay engaged with the platform. So the benefit to you is you build this list of hopefully thousands of people, and to Facebook, they get the engagement that they want, and later you can use that list to launch Amazon products too, because that they engage with and they like these products already, just from the fact that they joined the contest for this product. So you can do a contest or several contests. There's no reason that you only do one. If you have multiple products, you can do multiple contests. And a lot of times, the same audience list, you can keep building the audience on Facebook by doing contests for multiple products. Or you could do a bundle contest. Like, there's lots of different ways that you can slice up your targeting or doing different offers to Facebook. Because what you don't want on Facebook is you don't want people to see the same exact ad, the same offer over and over again on Facebook, because people, they get bored, right? If they see the same thing in their news feed like 3 days in a row, they're like, I'm over that. Like that's so 3 days ago. So, this audience that you're targeting, if you keep running the same offer to them over and over and over again, your costs start to creep up on Facebook because, it's similar to what's called banner blindness, right? It's like, people, they get tired of seeing the same ad over and over again on Facebook and they stop engaging with it. So what you have to do as a Facebook advertiser is keep people engaged, keep things exciting. So this is another way that Amazon PPC and Facebook are very different, because on Amazon, you don't necessarily have to refresh your advertising, because someone saw the same ad over and over again. That's just not as much of a consideration on Amazon PPC. Whereas on Facebook, let's say you run generally any campaign, but we'll say a contest, for example, or a lead magnet. If you run that for 4 to 6 weeks to 8 weeks, you'll start to see in Facebook that your frequency, which is the amount of times that the average person saw your ads, so that frequency will tend to creep up, and your costs will also tend to creep up over time, because you're hitting the same people over and over again with the same ad, and it has diminishing returns. So on Facebook, switching up the ad creatives, switching up your offers, that's a very important piece of success on Facebook that is not immediately apparent when you come from the Amazon platform. Now, when you build your list of a couple thousand people from Facebook, you also have to consider, how am I going to get these people from Facebook into my email list and or chatbot? I recommend both. I mean, why not just get their information in as many places as you can? So in the chatbot and on email. You have to do the right follow-up to that list to get the maximum impact on Amazon, right? So you have this list of a couple thousand people, but on Amazon, you don't necessarily want to jam all your sales on the first day, because then your sales velocity is not going to be consistent. So that's another consideration that's Amazon specific. Like other Facebook trainings, they don't necessarily take into consideration these, kind of details that are very important on Amazon. On Amazon, you want to maintain a consistent sales velocity during your launch to show Amazon that this product has traction, it has social proof, people are buying it. You want that to spread out over 3 or 4 weeks. And so if you have your list of people and you have all their email addresses and you have their chatbot, you can reach out to them, then you can basically spread out your messaging to these people over time to get the best impact on Amazon that you can get, right? You want to maximize the amount of firepower that you have from your list, because on Amazon, you get one shot to rank that product. And so you want to make sure that the ranking strategy is really solid. And so having that maximum ranking and reviews from that list of people, you got to do that follow-up as well. And I see a lot of Amazon sellers make this mistake. They spent the time to get a couple hundred people or 1,000 people on an email list, and they launch a product and they send one email. And then they're like, yeah, I got a couple sales. It was like, I sent one email and then a couple people bought it. I'm like, why didn't you send 3 emails at least, right? Think about it when you open your email inbox. Do you open every email that goes through there? No, right? A good open rate on email is 30%. That's a great open rate on most emails, especially for an e-commerce Amazon type product. So, okay, best case scenario, only 1 out of 3 people is going to even open the email that you sent out. So if you only send 1 email, you're only getting 1/3 of the people to see it. So this is another consideration that most Amazon sellers don't think about, because on Amazon, generally the transaction is made almost immediately. If you run an ad on Amazon for someone to buy something, they're either going to buy it or they're not going to buy it. But on email, you kind of have to hit them multiple times. And I actually recommend hitting people in multiple channels, because some people don't read their email, but they'll check their Facebook message, or vice versa. Or maybe they'll check their SMS if you get their SMS, or maybe in the Facebook group they'll check their post it in the Facebook group, right? So you have to be able to reach people in multiple places. So that's why I say you need 2 steps, right? You get the leads from Facebook as efficiently as you can, get the right people from Facebook, and then you also have to do the follow-up, the second part, and make sure your follow-up gets the maximum impact on Amazon. So the next question, of course, is who am I going to target on Facebook? And I could probably spend an hour or more just talking about this, because there are so many different ways that Facebook allows you to target people. For better or for worse, Facebook can be a very confusing platform, because you could target people based on their demographics, where they live, their age, if they have kids, how much money they have in some cases, if they have a car. I mean, there's all these different ways that you could target people on Facebook. And you can very quickly go down a rabbit hole of like you could literally spend hours and hours and hours trying to figure this stuff out, and then realize later that targeting just didn't work for Amazon products. So I'll try to shortcut a bit of that. I think Facebook interest targeting, and by that I mean targeting people who like certain Facebook pages, right? So if you have a dog toys brand, you could potentially target people who like your competitors' brands, especially those brands that are more visible. So smaller Facebook pages, if they have less than 100,000 fans, sometimes they'll show up as a Facebook interest that you can target, sometimes they won't. But generally, the larger pages, over 100,000 fans, you can target them. So people who like those pages, I want to target those people. And this can work well, but it really depends on the products. So if you sold a dog toy product, you could target perhaps dog food brands, would be a good example. Or you could target dog magazines, or there might be dog associations. There might be live events where people talk about dogs, maybe dog shows. Trying to think what else people you could target them on. But there's all these different things that people will show their interest in, and those type of people like your products, right? So there's kind of like this extra step. So you have to think, okay, people who would buy my product, what are some of the interests that they would probably have? And then whatever you think, you got to go one level deeper, right? So the first thing is, well, I sell dog toys. I guess I'm going to target dogs on Facebook, and then just go like super broad, like hundreds of millions of people. Like, that's probably not going to work, right? Because Facebook, again, is a competitive platform. And if you just basically make the lazy mode and just like, oh, I'm just going to target dogs or cats on Facebook, the challenge is that group of people, they might not be engaged enough with your type of dog products, because dogs is such a broad group of people. Like there's all these subgroups underneath dogs. So some people, like, they might love golden retrievers, right? So if you had a product that was really relevant for golden retrievers specifically, you would get a lot farther with your Facebook targeting by going after a subgroup of people, as long as it's large enough, right? So I'd say large enough being probably more than 100,000 people, but I'm sure there's more than 100,000 people that like golden retrievers. But your advertising will go a lot farther targeting that than it would the overall dog category, which is hundreds of millions of people on Facebook. So you have to think about the Facebook interest. How can you get a little deeper? How can you target the people who are more engaged and more crazy about these type of products, right? Because the more engaged and passionate they are about the product, generally easier and more effective the Facebook targeting will be. So on Facebook, there's lots of other ways you can target people based on income and other demographic information. Again, I could spend an hour going into that, but realistically, I think interest targeting is a good option, and Amazon customer data is a better option. So these are really the only two that we focus on for most Amazon sellers or clients that we've worked with, or even for our own brands. So if we have Amazon customer data, we want to use it. If we don't have that Amazon customer data, the backup is doing Facebook interest targeting. So if you are already selling on Amazon, this process can actually be a little bit easier because Amazon, at least for right now, they still give you some of the customer data for FBA of people that purchase your products. And the really cool thing that you can do, at least for now, until Amazon removes this feature, because Amazon has said and is starting to remove this data for some sellers, you should probably get this data before Amazon gets rid of it, because you're going to wish that you had it later to use for targeting. Because you can take your Amazon customer data, you can do a little bit of formatting, and then you can upload it into Facebook, and Facebook will actually match based on the shipping addresses of your FBA customers to Facebook profiles, right? So let's say you have a list of 10,000 people that bought from you on Amazon over the past year. You can download that information, do a little bit of formatting, and upload it to Facebook, and you can target a big group of those people on Facebook, right? Because again, like most people are on Amazon and on Facebook. It makes sense, right? Now, the challenge is, Facebook can't match everyone one-to-one with that information, because all the information that Amazon gives you now is the buyer's shipping address. They used to give you the buyer's phone number, and Facebook would be able to match 50 to 60 to 70% of people based on that. And then Amazon got rid of the phone number. They're like, we're just not going to share that with you. So now you only have the address information. Now Facebook can still use that to try and match people, but it's only probably 30% to 40% is the match rate that we've seen on average. But again, it depends on demographics and what type of products you sell. But I think if you think about it, okay, 30% of whatever Amazon information I upload into Facebook, I can probably match it, right? So if you had that list of 10,000 people, you upload it into Facebook, you probably get a list of about 3,000 people, maybe 4,000. And one thing that you can do is, okay, you have these 3,000 past Amazon customers on Facebook. If you want to get more Amazon reviews, just target them with Facebook ads and get them into one of these lead magnets or contests, or you could maybe even ask directly to leave an Amazon review, right? So that's a straightforward way to kind of close the loop from your Amazon customers on Facebook. So that's one thing that you could do. Once you have this list of a couple thousand people, Facebook can actually send you a list of similar people. It's called a lookalike audience. And you can target those people on Facebook, which is pretty cool. So if, for example, you wanted to run a lead magnet or a contest, in general, this audience of a lookalike that is similar to your Amazon customers, those people are probably also interested in your products, because people says, okay, these are the either 1% or 3% or 10% of people in, let's say, the United States that are most similar to your Amazon buyers. So that targeting can work really well. And it's also a lot less complex than doing the Facebook interest targeting. So if you have the Amazon customer data, export it now, right? Even if you're not ready to do Facebook right now, at some point in the future, you might want to. And later this year, Amazon might just completely remove that data from the fulfilled shipments report. So I recommend just export it now, get the information. If you want to start on Facebook now, awesome, do it. If not, just save the spreadsheet somewhere. Because again, you're going to want that data later. So I put together for Gary's audience just a quick video tutorial on how do you go into the Amazon fulfilled shipments report, how do you export that data. I have a spreadsheet that you can use to basically do the proper formatting to get that Amazon data into the way that Facebook wants it. And then I show how you upload it into Facebook so you can make a target audience or a lookalike audience. So you can go to firstpagefunnel.com/7, that's the number 7, FSS, 7FSS, and download this video tutorial and just get the data now. So a lot of Amazon sellers have already gotten this data, awesome. You should probably refresh it again. But if you haven't gotten it yet, even if you have only 100 buyers in Amazon, whatever information you have, just get it now before Amazon gets rid of it. And I also have a Facebook training for Amazon sellers, basically showing this whole process from start to finish. So how do you start from I literally have no audience to deciding on my offer, who we're going to target, building the list, and then on the back end showing how to use that list to rank on Amazon effectively and get reviews. And for those sellers who they have multiple products, they have success on Amazon, they want to build their brand outside of Amazon and build their list, I also do this for clients. So there's information about both of those on this page as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dave. This has been super in-depth and super practical training. I just pasted for the follow-up tutorial into the chat for people that want to check it out. So yeah, we're a little over time, but we can take just a couple of questions. Dave, are you okay on time or do you have to run?
Yeah, I can hang out for a bit, whatever you want to ask. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we had one member's question from Tusev, who said, I am in the process of launching my first brand and did a contest using UpViral, but was only able to collect 800 emails with a cost of $1 per lead. Now struggling to the product actually launches, which got delayed as you can expect due to the coronavirus. So I would have been, I would like to ask what Dave would do in this situation. What do you think?
Oh, that's a tough situation. Yeah, I mean, the issue of Corona has been an issue for us and also for clients I've worked with. So I feel you on that one. So one thing that you could potentially do if you wanted to run another contest later is you could run a contest for someone else's product. So it's better if you run a contest for your own product because then people are interested in that exact product. But you might not be ready yet, or you might not have inventory, or you might be in the early stages. If you want to continue building a list, there may be some complementary products that you can offer as a prize to that same group of people. So going back to the dog toy example, okay, maybe my dog toy is not ready, but I could basically just buy a dog bowl or some other kind of dog chew toy that preferably is not like a direct competitor, although you could do that too, because you don't necessarily want to promote their brand. But it could be like a complementary product, and then you could use that as part of the contest instead. And you could do that immediately, right? You probably even know what those products are right now. And the important thing to remember is the product that you run for the contest, you want to make sure that if someone buys that product, that they would also buy your Amazon product. You have to be careful. You can't just I'm going to give away an iPad and then everybody wants an iPad and I have this list, but then that list is not going to convert to your product that well because just the fact that they want an iPad doesn't mean anything about a dog toy. So the product that you use for the contest has to qualify the people that they are your target customer. So that's one strategy that I would use if I wanted to keep building a list without inventory. And it's also easy for the people on that list. If you already have a list from your other contest, you could promote the new contest, and like people will still be excited about it.
Sounds good. All right. And I had a question, Dave. When you were talking, on customer data, which I highly recommend to everybody that you do it right now, because you don't know when Amazon's gonna shut that down, and this is like the only real customer information that you can get. And then when I spoke with Dave in the pre-call, like when he told me about this, I had that downloaded ASAP. So I highly recommend you guys do that. So assuming, we have 10,000, a list of 10,000 customers, and once we upload them to Facebook, we can match, like what you said, 30%, like 3,000. And if we do want to get more Amazon reviews, which is the case with my product. And I know you said earlier on, test a lead magnet or straight up ask for a review. Can you just quickly walk us through, like, what is the process of doing that? If if you were me, if you were in my shoes.
Yeah, so I kind of see two ways that you could reach out to those customers again. So the one way you could do is, if you're going to run a contest anyways, for one of your other products, you can basically just invite these past customers to join your new contest, right? So you can just run the Facebook ads to them for your contest to get them to join. And if because in your chatbot, you can basically segment like where people are coming from. If you set it up the right way, those people coming in from that campaign to your past Amazon customers, okay, they join the contest, but then you have like a follow-up, like, oh, hey, by the way, not stalking you, but we know you bought something on Amazon, like, could you leave us a review, kind of thing, right? I mean, I would make it worded a bit more, generically, right? Like, oh, have you purchased any products from us before? Might be a message that you send. And of course, the answer is going to be yes, but you don't want to like freak people out, right? So, okay, yes, we purchased before, and then you could, give them some instructions on leaving a review. And as long as you word it carefully, I mean, that shouldn't be against the Amazon TOS, right? Because you're just reminding them of the functionality that's already on Amazon to leave a review, right? You're not incentivizing them. This is not, the contest has nothing to do with the review. So you're just happen to remind this person that already bought a product to leave their review, right? And that's it. So you could do that. You could also directly just run an ad to them on Facebook. Hey, we're looking for feedback on our products. Click here to give product feedback. It can work if you don't have another type of offer, but I think that can get expensive pretty quickly, because again, it's not like super compelling for someone on Facebook to like, hey, leave us product feedback. I mean, people are like, unless they really love your brand, then maybe they would do that. But if you really need some extra reviews, I mean, you could spend the extra money to just directly ask for product feedback and send them into a chatbot that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And recommend ManyChat.
Yes, so I think ManyChat is, for Amazon sellers, just a really great platform, because they also added the functionality to do email sends and SMS messaging as well. So you can actually handle communicating in multiple channels from just the one ManyChat platform. And for Amazon sellers, I think you got to think about time efficiency and utilizing your resources well. So ManyChat, like, you just have this one place that you can basically handle all of the outreach that you need, which I think that's really cool about ManyChat as the chatbot platform that we use.
Awesome. And we have a question from Sherry King. And then Sherry also asked as a follow-up, Dave, do you cover ManyChat in your training as well?
Yes. So the training is, how do you get the leads from Facebook? How do you create the ads? And then those ads, that's how you're getting people into the chatbot and then following up with them in email, right? So I go from start to finish, everything that you need. And also don't waste your time with stuff that doesn't work for Amazon sellers, which, there's plenty of Facebook courses out there, but very few of them take into consideration what's actually important for Amazon sellers. And people just waste a lot of time spinning their wheels. But yeah, the Facebook ads, the chatbot, and the email, and how you use all of those to get the Amazon rankings and reviews.
Excellent. And we have a question from Sherry King. Okay. And she says, I have 2 products that are in the kitchen category and are also highly giftable. I'm challenged by how to name a Facebook page or group name that captures an audience. Any suggestions?
Yes. So I think in the kitchen category, if the 2 products are hopefully solve a similar problem or the same customer buys both of those products, it's kind of tough without knowing, like maybe the subcategory of kitchen, but I would say at the high level, it could be something around something that you do in the kitchen. So I love cooking. Actually, the example I gave earlier, that might be okay, but it's kitchen products like that could be a lot of different products. It could be like I love baking, or like, something around an activity that product helps facilitate. I think that those generally work pretty well for Facebook pages and groups. And then as a backup, if that doesn't work, then your brand name could be a backup for the Facebook page. You could even just ask people for feedback. Like, let's say your past customers, you could just give them a couple ideas for your Facebook page name and say, hey, which one do you like best? I love cooking, I love baking, my brand, cookware, or whatever, and just ask the audience, like, what do they like best? And then that can help give you some insights into the page name. And also, you can always change the page name later, at least in the beginning stages. So it's not the end of the world if like the name's not ideal. You could probably change it within a month or 2 anyways.
Cool. That's good to know. And let me see. I had another question. What if you're just starting out right now to sell on Amazon and you're launching 1 or 2 products, and you're not sure whether you'll launch more? And I know you said you normally recommend, if you have 5 or more products, then building a list is very effective. But if you're in, this new person's shoes, just starting off with 1 or 2 products, would you build a list from the start?
That's a good question. So I think at the very least, you should do the first strategy that I mentioned, which is the manual hustle. So getting people into groups, getting direct feedback from customers. I think anybody can pull that off, and it costs your time. So if you're really not sure that you want to continue launching more products after the first 2, that could be a way to at least get some people, right? Because 100 people is certainly better than 0. And if you can get 1,000 people, that's better than 100, right? But you need some group of people to basically get the product rankings jump started. Now, the flip side to that, I would say, is Amazon is very competitive. And so if you're not really sure about launching this 1 product or 2 products and like investing in the audience, you have to also consider like, what is your alternate plan for getting those products onto the first page of Amazon and getting the visibility for them? Because whether you build a list from Facebook or you partner with someone else who's an influencer and launch to their list, or use some other channel to build a list, you need some strategy to get on the first page of Amazon. And so if you have something else that's working, by all means, go ahead and do that. But you have to really consider, okay, if I don't want to do Facebook, and again, it's not for everybody, but for a lot of Amazon sellers, it can work very well. What is your alternate strategy? Maybe Amazon PPC. That can still work in some cases, but also you have to pay to run the PPC, right? So you're going to be paying to launch the product either way. So if you think Facebook, again, maybe is not the best fit for those type of products, you got to see, okay, what are the other channels that I can build a list? Or can I rent someone else's list? Or alternatively, what's it going to cost in Amazon PPC to launch the product?
Excellent. All right, that makes a lot of sense, and I agree. I mean, when you're first starting out, you need some sort of strategy to get onto page one, whether it's building a list or giveaways, rebates, or something. And I think at the same time, even if you're cash strapped, like what you said, Dave, just hustling, getting people into groups, getting that first 100, these raving fans. I think that's it's just like sweat equity. It's not really, doesn't necessarily cost like thousands of dollars. I think that's one of the key things that I see seven-figure sellers doing right now to stay ahead, in terms of building a brand, to stay, above the competition right now, as we're talking in 2020. So any final parting advice? I know we covered a lot today. If you were to kind of distill it down and apply the 80-20 rule, Dave, like what final advice would you give people watching today and also on the replay that want to, just create that list on Facebook and to get on page one and get them unstuck?
Yeah, I think really taking the time and if you need to like go back through the presentation, because I know I covered like a lot of stuff, but I think like that kind of step-by-step mindset, first you have to identify, is Facebook going to work for these products, right? Is it good to build a list for these products? And then if it is, you can go into all the other details. But I think it's really important to think about those, what's kind of the longer term strategy look like here? Because again, if you're going to be launching multiple Amazon products, you need that visibility on the first page for every single product that you launch. And from what I've seen and from other seven-figure sellers or eight-figure sellers, the ones that have consistently grown, I've seen over the past year or two, they have a list of people, right? And a lot of them have built that list from Facebook. And so this has gone from something that is nice to have on Amazon to a must-have. You need basically to bring your own party to Amazon when you launch the product, right? So you have to think about, where am I going to get this party of people and how am I going to get them to Amazon in the right way? And that is what's going to continue ranking in 2020 and beyond.
Perfect. And for those of the people watching that want to follow up with you, Dave, what's the best way to connect?
Yeah, so on that same page, I have my contact information there. That's the easiest way to reach out to me.
Okay, perfect. So that is firstpagefunnel.com/7FSS. Yep. So you can get the video tutorial that's free, how to export your Amazon data into Facebook, and also Dave's follow-up information. So thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah,
we
thanks
really
for having me,
appreciate your time. Yeah, this was awesome, super useful. And also thank you everybody for tuning in today. And I wish you guys good luck in building your list, and also stay safe right now. I know there's the whole virus going on, so wherever you are, I hope you and your families are safe. All right, so great seeing you all, and have a great day.
Bye.
All right, take care. Bye.